We're going to go back in time a little bit, but not too far back. Just about 18 years for Japan, 17 years for us. Don't worry, it's perfectly fine, and we're all going to pretty much come out of this unscathed, just so long as we keep our hands and feet inside the TARDIS at all times. Don't worry about it. This will be fun. We're going back to the Game Boy Advance era. One of the greatest RPG games ever to be released on that system that barely gets any recognition nowadays. And in all honesty, it deserves a lot of recognition. It really does. Today, I'm taking a look at Golden Sun. Today, on Andrew Reviews. Okay, so back in 2001, over in Japan, Golden Sun debuted. Originally supposed to be on the N64 system, since its lifespan was sadly coming to an end, and Nintendo didn't really want to go the way that Sega did and try to keep putting their precious system on life support. Yeah, I'm looking at the Sega 32. Or was it the CD 32? Yeah, it was the CD 32, and there's like an add-on. No, it's the 32, and then the CD 32, then the 32X, and you know what? It was just a monstrosity. Happily, Nintendo decided not to go that route, and just let the N64 die with dignity. See? This is why Sega lost the console wars. Hint, hint. Nintendo just let their system die with dignity. Then again, the whole fiasco of the Virtual Boy really didn't help, but still, they at least let the N64 die with dignity. Anyway, moving right along, with the Game Boy Advance now in the prime of its life, at least for the majority of me as far as I was concerned, I was fancying getting my hands on one. Though with my piss-poor allowance of $12 a week, yeah, it basically made for saving up to be extremely difficult. Though whatever I wanted, I definitely had to work for. And God knows I did. My Game Boy Advance was one of my most favorite and cherished possessions. Then I upgraded it to the Game Boy Advance SP because it had the goddamn backlight that the original should have just had from the damn start. Seriously, I never understood that. But anyway, let's fast forward about a year. Now, in November of 2001, Golden Sun hit the US. But I still didn't technically own it yet. See, I had probably just gotten my hands on a Game Boy Advance, and by this point in time, I was pretty much playing Dragon Ball Z, Legacy of Goku, and a Metabots game. That's it. Again, piss poor allowance. It took me 3 weeks to buy one game. Not even joking. When I finally did get my hands on Golden Sun, it was well worth it. My 13th birthday. My family had given me some money for my birthday, and I wanted to blow the wad. Okay, I never really had a good concept of money as a child, so in all honesty, if I saw something I wanted and I had money in my hands, I wanted to get it for the off chance that I would never see it again. And that's what I did with Golden Sun. Sitting there in the Walmart game case, I picked it up. Well, actually I had to ask the employee to grab it out of the case since they had their freaking bulletproof glass there, but you get the point. I picked it up at a Walmart on my birthday. So 13-year-old me got to finally enjoy Golden Sun on August 18th, 2002. God, was it worth it? The game centers around a character by the name of Isaac, though the names in this are technically a moot point because you can technically rename them. No, seriously, you can. Now, I would show you game footage of this and clips, but there's 2 reasons why I can't. The first being my standard, I am terrified to death of a copyright strike. The second one being simply, I can't. I don't have the game anymore. I have none of the Golden Sun games. In fact, the only thing I have left of the Golden Sun games that I had were 2 strategy guides. And because I'm an anal son of a bitch that I am, I'm actually trying to find a good condition copy of the original Golden Sun strategy guide, literally just to have the complete set. Yeah, that's right. I don't even have the games anymore. See, I had a financial setback way back a few years ago in 2014 and 15 where I needed whatever money I could get. So I unfortunately had to sell off a lot of my beloved treasures, and my Golden Sun games were among those treasures. Yes, I know, but then again, I always thought that one day we would be reunited down the road. Plus, it turned out to not be such a bad idea, since apparently a lot of the cartridges for the original Game Boy Advance games are starting to show their signs of age, with some of them not being able to store save files anymore due to the battery basically having no charge, or being that screwed up, weak, or leaking. So, yeah, it was sort of a double-edged blade, but I think I kind of lucked out on both sides. One was dull, and the other one, well, broke the minute I touched it. Yeah, sort of a lucky break there. Anyway, the games, like I said, center around a boy named Isaac. And what's so special about this kid? Well, he lives in the town of Vale, guardians of the mighty Mount Aleph. What is the point of this, you ask? Well, Mount Aleph actually holds a secret. The secret of alchemy. Well, okay, we don't technically know this until the second game, but it's actually holding the secret of apparently the Golden Sun. Now, what happens in this? Well, you need to solve a puzzle in order to make it to a room where you can acquire the elemental stars to light the lighthouses. Unfortunately, when we start the game rather young. I would like to venture a guess as to how young, but I'm not about to try to guess that. What ends up happening is all hell's breaking loose. Our mom wakes us up. Everybody's gathering in the town square because the mountain is erupting. We quickly scurry around to find any and all survivors we can to help them out as best we can. And in all honesty, well, we do a damn good job of it. We help as many people as we can fight some of the monsters that escaped from beyond the fence, and we make it to the town square, where we find out that our friend Jenna, her brother Felix, is currently trapped in the water, and everyone's trying to save him. Unfortunately, they can't reach him because their Psi-Energy, the massive power that they themselves use, has been drained, trying to protect the town. The elders are currently holding back the giant boulder that's trying to destroy all of Vale until the citizens can get to safety, but all hell is continuing to break loose. You quickly run as fast as you can down to the city square, trying to find anyone that can come and help. And you finally manage to find someone. You make it back, and they come there to help just as the boulder gives way. The elders could no longer hold it back, and it lets loose. Crushes everyone involved. Jenna's parents, your father, and Felix. They're all presumed dead at this point. You quickly try to run to find help. However, Garrett, your best friend, runs after you to assist you. On the way there, you run into a mysterious man and woman who are leaving the mountain. Turns out these two were actually the ones that were responsible for setting off the traps and the eruption. They're known as Sitaris and Minardi. I kept mispronouncing her name for the longest time. Or Sitaros and Minardi. I kept calling her Miradai. Minardi sounds a lot better. But anyway, they end up taking you on. Now, this is a scripted fight, though, in the game, so your ass is going to lose anyway. So once they're done basically pummeling you into the ground like Zarbon is on a Wednesday night... Yeah, I stuck in a Dragon Ball Z Abridged reference there. It's sad. Anyway, the game cuts to a few years later. You're fixing the roof on your home. Your mom's basically telling you how proud she is of you, and your friends come to gather you because you're going to go see Master Kraden, the old hermit who's basically a penny-pinching miser who's studying alchemy here in Vale. Why the hell he's there, I don't know, but if you ever follow one of Zero the First gameplays of Golden Sun, watch some of the comments, because we rip him a new one. Not Zero the First, but Kraden. Little bastard. Anyway, Kraden has a task for you. After telling Sitaris and Minardi to pretty much, well, get lost, in his own words, he takes you, Jenna, and Garrett to Mount Aleph. There, you manage to find the elemental stars after solving the puzzle that pondered so many. Seriously, push the freaking statues to make the rooms different. Light must become dark, and dark must become light. It's not that difficult. Although, looking back on it now, again, 13-year-old Andrew was not very intelligent. 29-year-old Andrew, on the other hand, is intelligent. Amazing what 16 years does. Anyway, after solving the massive the easy puzzle, you're sent into the Chamber of the Elemental Stars. There you gather all but one. You manage to grab the Venus, the Jupiter, and the Mercury stars. Unfortunately, you're unable to gather the Mars star before realizing that Jenna and Creighton have been taken hostage by none other than Sitaris and Minardi, as well as their cohorts, Felix, who's back from the grave, and Alex. Yes, that's right. After you manage to grab the Mars star per their order, I shouldn't really say suggestion because they're pretty much threatening to kill Jenna and Creighton. So yeah, per their order, you pretty much have no choice. Once you've managed to grab the star, all hell breaks loose inside the chamber and the Wise One enters. This all-seeing, all-knowing eyeball, literally giant rock eyeball, it's just creepy as hell, convinces you and Garrett that you must leave and basically teleports your ass back to safety. Now here's where the game gets kind of fun. You can actually go one of two ways. Do the simple retreat method and actually just, piss whip your way through to get back to the entrance. Or, my personal favorite, just run like hell and actually pretend the world's coming to an end. It doesn't matter what you do either way, because you get out of there before anything actually happens. At least to the best of my knowledge. I actually sat there once for a good 30 minutes and nothing happened. So, yeah. Nothing really happened to me. Anyway, once you get back down into Vale, all hell is still breaking loose. Except in this case, it's the town folk wanting to know what in the hell's going on. After you manage to tell the entire story to the great and powerful wise elder, you're given a choice. Go save the world, or go back home and do nothing. Choosing go back home and do nothing pretty much gives the world its darkest hour and everybody dies. You're instantly brought back to the great healing chamber in the Saticum and told you're going to pick the right answer this time. That right answer basically being you will save the world. Hence why the game. Yeah. You set out with Garrett on your way and eventually come across one of the many elemental jinn called Flint. Now, this is one of the most intriguing and annoying aspects of the game, mostly because Flint is forced upon you. You don't have a choice as to whether or not you want to take him along. Unlike the other jinn that you will meet along the way, you're going to be stuck with this guy, regardless. Which would make a kind of interesting video for Mitten Squad on could you actually beat Golden Sun with just having one jinn. Might have to submit that to them. But anyway, after having his sorry little fairy butt tag along, you head off to Vault. And there in Vault, you're basically, screwed. Yeah, look, here's the whole deal. Basically, you go into Vault and everybody that's in there, a whole bunch of merchants are leaving. They go down to the south to find the bridges now out. That's a problem, so they head north. North takes them to the Den of Thieves, quite literally. A village called Lumpa. Now, what's bad about this is that the villainous leader there wants to capture Hammett, the merchant, and use him as a ransom, basically extorting money from Hammett's home in Calais. While you're in Vault, you manage to find a young man named Ivan, who's the same as you. He's an adept. What's an adept? A person who can use and manipulate psi-energy. What's psi-energy? The power of the mind. There, you're all caught up. After managing to get back to Shaman's Rod, which was stolen by thieves inside a vault no less, you are basically allowed to finally go on your journey. Since you can't go to Lumpa yet due to the fact that they have the town locked up since they have their golden goose, and you don't have the frost psi-energy to open up the gate to the west, you head towards the Bibbling Caves. And what's in the Bibbling Caves? Well, Not much of anything, but Ivan comes back to join you, realizing that you need help. After you clear the Bibbling Caves, which the puzzle is not that difficult, and there's a djinn inside, a fire one for Garrett, you manage to find your way out and head to Biblin. Now, this is where the game takes a really fun turn. You can go one of two different ways. Either north to Emil and take on the Mercury Lighthouse and pick up not only another member for your party, which can help out during the Komla Forest version of the fight if you don't do that right away, or you can head to Komla Forest. However, here's the downside. If you do Komla Forest first, you're still going to have to backtrack up to Mercury Lighthouse to get the Hermes water that you get upon finishing out the Mercury Lighthouse. Basically, beating Sitaris at the top of at the lighthouse, which took me a while to do. Yeah, I was severely underleveled. Look, I admit it. I'm not good I was not good at RPG games back in the day. I loved them, but I sucked at them. So it's best to just head north to Emil and take on the Mercury Lighthouse. Beating it, getting Mai, and going about your merry way. Going into Komla Forest, you then manage to basically take on Evil Trent. Trent is a tree guardian. Think like the giant guardians in Lord of the Rings the Two Towers of Return of the King, but instead of being able to walk around and stuff, he's mobile. Him and Laurel are basically the guardians of the forest. Trent is mighty pissed. Turns out the townfolk of Komla have actually taken their axes to him, and he ain't having none of that shit. So, because he's been basically brainwashed by the Psi-Energy Stone, he turns them all into trees. Along your way, you end up coming across the Biblin Barricade, because the mighty mayor of Biblin, Lord Biblin himself, built the barricade after his wife was turned into a tree, not to mention some other people as well. Yeah, so that's a thing. If you manage to save one girl who's stuck in the river, you're actually going to get a pretty cool little item that you'll get to have once you return to go back to Biblin to confirm that, hey, look, I saved the day, kiss off. Going down to Komla Forest, though, or at least down to Komla, you can get yourself another djinn and then take on the Komla Forest, using the Hermes water to heal Trent after you manage to drive the evil from his heart and save him. He reverses the curse, freeing everybody and allowing you to continue upon your journey, since the bridge you needed to cross is basically a drawbridge and the person on the other side of it is now a tree and the bridge is completely up. Yeah, you have no choice. Upon beating the bridge, you're able to do a few little side things. Gathering the Force Psi energy, which is really cool. Getting to interact with a few other things, not to mention taking on an entire amount of statue flooding things in a small little mining town that is now currently underwater because their blessing statues have come to life and are flooding the place alive. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Upon beating them, you get the Douse and Frost Psi energy gems, which allow you to utilize them for other characters other than Mia. Keep in mind, though, she pretty much has those powers, so they're a moot point. At least for now. But, yeah, they're a moot point. Anyway, after doing that, you head off to a really, really stupid plot point that will come in more handy for the second part than the first part. However, we're basically introduced to another Jupiter Adept. This one, we find out later, spoiler by the way, because I'm just going to do all three of these in one fell swoop, she's Ivan's sister. And basically, yeah, she's here for one reason. To make sure that you go on the right path. To give Ivan reveal so that you can see through the upcoming desert. You have to use reveal to possibly go back and save this fat guy named Hanzu who got trapped by the rocks, or you can just let his ass there to die. I actually really felt sorry the first time I forgot to go back for him, and it does hurt you later on down the road, so yeah, go back and save his ass. Once you get through all the plot points for that, you're able to go into the Shell in the Desert, and once you're there, or at least the desert I should say, but once you're there, it's every couple steps causes your sweat meter to rise. You think living in a tropical oasis is a hell on Earth? Nah, nah, nah. You have yet to experience hell. Why don't you go to this desert where every oasis is hidden? There's possible ant lions as well. Not to mention other things. Yeah, this is not a good place to be. And because of that, it often sucks. However, once you manage to get through that, taking on the Minotaur, that's the boss at the end, you actually are able to go to Calais. In Calais, there's a group getting ready to leave to Tabbouleh, a city on the other side of the great, I'm going to say lake because it's surrounded by goddamn it's surrounded by goddamn land, so it does not make it an ocean, morons. But anyway, you can go back north to see how things are going up there after you find out that Hammett still has not returned. Now you can actually sneak into Lumpa, though you could have just done that by going back through the Bibbling Cave after you got Mia, but still it's more fun to do it this way. However, you can't really go much further than that because you need Cloak, a Psy-Energy you can only get after doing the event in Tabbouleh. Yeah, it sucks, but either way, you get the gist of it. The neat part, though, is that when you get to the docks, you actually have a choice when you have to pick rowers who get attacked by the monsters. If you choose the right selection of rowers, you can actually access a hidden portion of the game a little bit earlier than normal. That early portion of the game is called Crossbone Isle. Now, what is so important about Crossbone Isle, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because what's so important about Crossbone Isle is it's filled with cursed weapons, it's got some pretty cool powers in there, not to mention a djinn, and you can get down to floor 4 and earn some actually good experience points by taking on the boss monsters at the doors. Not to mention the fact that once you have it there, you'll know what to expect when you come back to finish it a little later on, again after you get Cloak and have access to the other desert. If you choose not to go there, well, then you just wind up on the other side of the lake at the other dock, and you can go to Tabbouleh. There if you go up the one pathway, you're asked if you've seen this person or not. The person they're looking for, he's Baba. And what is Baba? Well, or Bibi, or Bobby, well, what is he? He's the guy in charge, and he's gone missing. And right now, the great tournament of tournaments that's happening, they don't want to continue it until they find his ass. He's up in a cave, and in all honesty, he's there because he's going after his mystical drought. Now, what is this stuff, you ask? Well, it's actually from an island called Lumaria. And what is Lumaria? Well, it's a place that is wrapped in fog in the middle of the ocean, and in all honesty, you're not going to have to worry about it in this game because you never get there until the second game. Yep. Anyway, after helping him out, you manage to go back to Tabbouleh, where you're basically allowed to enter Colosso, the tournament of tournaments that's currently going on. If you manage to kick ass and take names, you get the lure cap. If you don't kick ass and take names, you at least got the fun of getting your ass whooped. At least if you lose in the final round. Try not to lose in any of the earlier ones, it kind of sucks. Though in all honesty, you could probably just save beforehand and soft reset and then just go back. But just try to win anyway, it's worth it. Plus, the fact that this is one of those you can cheat type of deals really sucks. You see, you're able to get an idea of what each of the stages have. You can leave one of your friends there to cheer you on, but what they're actually doing is sabotaging your side of the arena to get you to the center faster. Because if you get to the center faster, you get the better weapon. Yep, that's how it rolls here. I know, it's stupid, and in all honesty, I don't see how an entire crowd of people did not see a brick suddenly shoot, or a giant log suddenly fly into a freaking conveyor belt and stop it. That's bullshit. But anyway, if you manage to do all of this, you're tasked with heading off to search for Lumaria. And the only way you can get there is by Bobby's Lighthouse, which is currently being built right by the Venus Lighthouse. Convenient, since that's where you need to go anyway. On your way there, you wind up in a small town called Shilla, and there you find out that Sheba, a girl that was being taken care of, has been kidnapped. And of course, we know by who. Sataris, Minardi, Felix, and Alex. Oh, and I know I haven't mentioned it yet, but Alex is Mia's brother. Yep, there you go. Just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. Basically what happens is you go through the desert fighting off the lizards. You can optional take the one lizard to go back to Crossbone Isle and take on the optional boss of Dreadbeard. In all honesty, not bad. Or Blackbeard, whatever he was called. Still not bad. And that's basically it. You leave the desert, head to the Shella Pass, where you go through, find that there's a boat at the little peninsula. Unfortunately, it's not your boat that you're looking for. It'd be too easy, and the game doesn't have much data left. So, of course, it's not there. You go back out, leave the pass, and head to Lavario. However, to get there, you have to pass through the Venus Lighthouse first, or at least part of it. There you can pick up the Carry Cyanergy gem and open up a path that you're going to need to have open to continue later on anyway. Choosing one of the two paths can give you different options a little later on. Just pick one, it doesn't really matter, you'll know why later. Basically, you'll end up leaving there and headed to Lavario. Once you're there, you find out that all hell's breaking loose out at the, lighthouse site. You get out there, you get inside, you find out that Sheba's been taken hostage, they were following the kidnappers, and they're now behind a sealed door. A door that has never been opened before, that they cannot figure out how to open up, but yet these people could. Because you need to use Reveal to open it, and only an adept can go through, you and the gang are basically allowed to go in on your own. Doing so allows you access to the ruins beneath Venus Lighthouse, and then eventually into Venus Lighthouse. Once you're there, you manage to get all the way up to the top, taking on enemies, grabbing the Titan's Blade along the way, and you take on Sataris and Minardi once again. However, once you royally beat their ass, they're not content with losing this round on their own. Nope, they're going to go out and they're going to take you down with them. They tell Felix to get the hell out of there with Sheba, who now has the Shaman's Rod, and in all honesty, all hell's still about to break loose, because Sataris and Minardi throw the lighthouse star in, the lighthouse erupts, and power begins overflowing into them. The Venus Lighthouse is filling them with energy because they themselves are fire adepts, and Venus and fire share a symbiotic relationship. They merge into the mighty fusion dragon and begin an onslaught of whooping your ass around the clock. You somehow manage to beat them, have a small cutscene with Felix, find out that the lighthouse is breaking apart. Sheba falls off the lighthouse, Felix dives in after her, and you all wake up. You head back down, and you search desperately for Sheba in an off-screen cut. Unfortunately, you cannot find her. You have to continue upon your journey, the promise that you made to Bobby. You leave, finding his ship at the dock. At this point in the game, though, if you manage to get this far, you're unable to actually go back to any section. You're literally locked into Lavario. The reason why is because the lighthouse base crumbles to pieces, so you can't actually go back towards the Venus Lighthouse, and because of that, you can't get back to any other portion of the game. So, yeah, the map locks you out at that point. You basically have no choice but to finish the game and leave. And that's the end of Golden Sun. You all basically head out into the great blue yonder as the music plays one final time. The credits roll, and you get this odd feeling of incompletion, because the game was supposed to be one whole game, but was split into two. However, a cutscene at the end does lead you to a neat little hope for the future, because Golden Sun The Lost Age was coming out. Years later, Golden Sun The Lost Age would finally make its debut, and in all honesty, it was a grand debut in itself. Why? Because it was just so damn beautiful. It really was. So at the conclusion of Golden Sun, I have some thoughts, and honestly, it's not bad for what it is. It's a turn-based RPG game that gives you some decent puzzle skills and everything else. Though I do have a few complaints. The first of which being the fact that the encounter system is a pain in the ass. I was recently watching Zero the First play this game, and in all honesty, I've come to the conclusion that the lower the level you are, depending upon the area you're in, the higher the encounter rate's going to be. A perfect example of this would be, say you're about level 5, and you're all the way up near Lamille. Yeah, you're going to be getting surrounded by enemies left and right. They're going to smell fresh meat and blood in the water, and they're going to want a piece of you, because it's an easy meal. But if you're at a high level, you're not going to get that many encounters in, let's say, the area around Vale, because they don't want anything to do with you. You're too strong. They're not, only the really brave ones are going to want to take a piece of you, and they know they're going to end up on the floor. So, yeah, it doesn't end well. Honestly, the turn-based system works for this beyond a doubt. However, I do have some complaints. Now, all 3 of the games are turn-based, unfortunately, but they're one of the few games that turn-based works. Although I wouldn't mind it being real-time, but still, I can live with turn-based. I don't mind turn-based, and at this point I'm used to it by now, but still, I wouldn't mind real-time. Could be a possibility if they ever come out with Golden Sun 4. They never will, but still. Honestly, though, I think the fact that you can't basically choose a different monster automatically to attack if the monster that was chosen, or your intended attack target in this case was chosen, is already defeated. However, they fixed this in the 3rd incarnation, but for the first 2 games they didn't, and honestly it bothers me, especially in this one, because you're just starting out. Not to mention the fact that you have that half-assed ending to this thing. I know it was supposed to be one whole game, it was split into 2, but in all honesty, you could have easily put this on 2 Game Boy Advance cartridges at the time and put them both in one box and charged $60 and said, look, it's 2 games. Problem solved. Or better yet, even better, just charge $50 and say, look, it's 2 games in one. And even include a free link cable or something if you want to go that route. There was also the matter of some cut energy, which honestly still hurts more than anything else. The fact that an action replay really doesn't do you any good on this. You have a character that offers you a chance to go and save the people of a small village, but then decides in his better wisdom, I don't want to do that because you're children, but yet they got here through a mountain range. The fact that parts of the story don't exactly follow through if you do them out of order. Basically, you could do most of the first half of this in any freaking order you want, so long as you at least end with Mia being part of your team by the time you reach that drawbridge on the other side of Komla Village. You can pretty much do this in any freaking order you want to, with the exception of going into Biblin Cave, since you're going to need Ivan's Whirlwind Psy-Energy. But still, you can do everything up to the end of Komla Village in any order you want. You can go and beat Trent first, and then go get Mia at Mercury Lighthouse, then come back, heal Trent, and go through Komla Village, and go through the drawbridge. You can bypass a couple side quests on this, and miss out on Psy-Energy like it's no freaking issue. You can bypass an entire thing on this and not even break a sweat, and it still annoys the crap out of me. The fact that you have to learn the reveal Psy-Energy, yet Sheba doesn't need it because she was able to go straight through with the Shaman's Rod, which you have and she doesn't. So how did they get through that freaking door if you need to use reveal in order to open the door? So many questions, so little answers. The fact that the puzzles in this aren't exactly challenging, but at the same time, they're not as convoluted as the next games. All in all, Golden Sun has its ups and downs. It's not bad for the time when it came out, and honestly, a majority of the stuff that I had issues with in this game kind of get corrected in the second game, but have more stuff thrown on top that you just kind of ignore it. Yeah, speaking of next game, I think it's time we dive into it. So, without any further ado, till next time, I will present you with Golden Sun, The Lost Age. Oh, goody.